Hi everyone, it's been a while since I've made a video and I wanted to make a 2018 in review for my planners since I've switched around a lot this year. So I wanted to give a hopefully quick recap of what I've been doing and what I've changed over the years and show a few spreads and things like that, and hopefully in the next week or so I'll also be making a video with the things I'm doing for next year. But first, this year, since, you know, the year isn't over yet. Not quite yet, kind of. So this year I've used 3 planners, the Hobonichi Weeks, a Passion Planner, and a Hobonichi cousin, and I'll be going through the year and show you the things that I've been doing. Firstly, I bought the week at the start of the year, the weeks at the start of the year, and I basically didn't use it until September, so that one's gone to the side. Last year I did a year in review video, and I actually never edited and uploaded it, but I talked about how I loved the Passion Planner and how amazing it was, and then this year I quickly fell out of love with it, sadly enough. So let's start at the start of the planner. Which you can go to the side. To the side, I'm saying. Here we go. Just keeping this one in. So this is the Passion Planner in the, I think, the Eco edition, purple cover, which has the loose cover, which a lot of people had trouble with, and yeah, it's been a bit of a problem child for me too. As you can see, it really bulked up, and I've only used this half a year. I didn't use this for the full year. Partially because it had gotten so big and it just didn't work for me anymore. I was keeping track of a lot of things and basically none of it was actually in this planner. So I was remaking my own planner from this planner, and that kind of just, after a while, that just didn't do it for me anymore. Anyway, at the start, this is just a quick printed calendar with some deadlines on it, but that's basically second half of the year. In here I have some of my printables that I made this year. What to do in a week, workout focus, stuff like that, promos, and I'll show you the actual how have you been using them within the planner this year. But those are stored here. I put up a piece of paper and I taped it so that I had a small pocket at the front. Very handy for printables. Then, firstly, yeah. Oh, it's not being very nice. This is my weekly checklist. It comes with 2 sides. See if I can make sure that it's actually in the video. It comes with 2 sides. Every week it says the things I have to do. For example, week 28 I had to do my VAT tax stuff, my finances, and hourly registration, words, stickers, which really I've just stopped doing most of this year. I'll probably show at the end of the video. Social media stats, and these are email addresses, which I've covered up, you know, privacy and everything, which I've just covered up, easier for me. But I've got a lot of email addresses which I only check once a week because they're not that important. I get email from like BookBub and other promotional stuff on it, and it's not a main email address that I need to check often. So those I check once a week. I do it like this because that way I make sure that I actually do it. At one point I stopped checking them for a couple of months at a time, and I got so ashamed of not checking them, and I'd miss emails from a review or something, and then I'd feel ashamed of not replying on time, and I was like, stopping doing that. I'll just check it once a week, which means that at most it's a week before I email back. And if I know there's time sensitive stuff coming up, I'll check the email more often, but generally a week is enough time for everything. Then first spread. Anything? Yeah. I keep checking if I'm getting the video right. I've barely been using these monthlies. You can see it. I'll show a few more. Barely been using the monthlies on this, but I did use these. These are my printables. Social media stats, which I check at the start of the month, and then I check them every week to see how my social media are growing or not growing, which also happens. My goals for the month, my work account focus, and what I'm publishing in a month. This was fun, and it helps get a great overview of what I'm writing in a month, but it worked while I was using it, but I basically grew out of it. Then we're skipping to the end of January to show my first weekly, since the first couple of weeks of January were a bit off. I was going to convention and I had other stuff to set up, so that was a little, I barely did anything, but you can see I'm actually using like stickers and cute stuff on this, and word counts. You can see the color coding I use. Blue, or no, this is a sort of a green blue, which is administration stuff, so finances, weekly checkings. Then this grey blue is travel time, pink is writing, orange is just general general publishing related stuff to do, like set up. These are setting up website pages. So that's plan next week is also in orange. This one turns brown, but it's because editing is generally in purple and I accidentally made it orange, so went over it with purple. And a few other things I've still got the... You can see that here I've crossed off I put a thing over it, and top 3 this week, what I had to do for one story and what I had to do for a different story. And this kind of stuff, like you can see still sticker use, that kind of ends halfway February. I kind of stopped using the stickers to make cute things pretty. Here is another spread, end of March. You can see that I've started using a printable at the side, and these are then double taped. I tried to get the letters off more because I just didn't use it that way, and I tried to get the letters off better, and that really bulked up my planner. Here you get the double lined and the fact that there's an extra page stuck in here. Still the top 3 per day, all the colouring stuff as usual. I crossed off the bottom numbers because I didn't use them. I used those to do the tasks, and these are how much gigabytes of internet I use in a day, because I'm on limited. Well, I'm not technically unlimited, but I can use 5 gigabytes a day, and then I have to sort of text them to give me a gigabyte again. But so it's handy to know, like I've used almost 4 gigabytes on that day. It's handy to know when I'm running out, so I'm not in the middle of uploading like a gigabyte somewhere and suddenly it stops because I'm out of internet. Yeah, I'll show a few better ones for the thing. Here you can see that in April I started I've used it a bit more here, but basically I use this and then I forget about it, because I knew on a week by week base I had a pretty good system. So on a week by week it's just I barely use this. Goals, work counts, publishing for the month, social media again, just per week, checking what growing, shrinking, whatever's going on, deadlines, publishing. Not that interesting, but I did want to show because it shows a bit of a change in what I'm doing over time. Then this is in May, when I started working on a lit RPG story. You can see here that I didn't publish every week, so I'd cross out certain things on the printable. I started colouring the lit RPG a different colour because I was still working on setting it up instead of immediately starting to write. So I had a sort of creative working on things blocks in here, and I've been on and off working with Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is a dictation program, and I blocked in time blocks for those, which didn't really work out. I'm gonna try again in 2019 because I do really want to use it, but it's a learning thing. Anything useful in here? Yeah, you can see that stuff changes over time, but a lot of it is the same, and you'll see that even if I changed my system, a lot of this stays the same, and a lot of it is still the same from 2017. The time blocking this way, I cross off the numbers, so I have sort of a writing piece on the bottom, and that's that. Then here, this is the final week I'm actually in this planner. You can still see I've got a date of publishing here, mostly published stuff, covers, formatting, print and formatting, stuff like that, publishing, writing. BSO is Base Status Online, which is my lit RPG, which by then I was writing. Newsletter, plan next week, plan next month. Here you can see that I've changed this block because for Emmy Angbirds I was writing The Other Dress, 1 to 2 chapters a week, which had to be uploaded to Patreon, Tapas, and then I was writing Base Status Online, which was 2 chapters all weeks, which I had to edit, which was going on Patreon, Tapas, and Royal Roads. So I had a lot more to take care of, and I'll probably go into it. I'm probably going to have to sort of go back to some of this next year because I know that I need to get on top of my social media more, and something like this tends to help with that. Then I've got something at the back still to show, but I'm showing this. This is August. I'm actually made this one myself. I can show I show it. I actually stitched this. So it's an actual booklet. It's basically the same as what you would get in like a booklet from here. These are also stitched, which makes them really sturdy, and it stops them falling apart. So this is a in-between stage from going from my Hobonichi, going from a Passion Planner to my Hobonichi weeks. For this month, this is a monthly overview, which I did enjoy a lot. I started color coding different works. So Sean, which was my vampire romance. Later, this was renamed to The Vampire's Past, but for the longest time, because I'd started writing this story, I think 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, I wrote the first version of the first book. So back then it was still called Sean, and for me, for the longest time, I still call it Sean, which is one of the main characters. The Other Dress, Sean is in red, which is vampire story. I don't know, it sort of happened. Then The Other Dress is in purple, and BSO, which is Base Status Online, is in blue. About 80k words for that month. I think I hit that in August. Yeah, I did. So you can see these are weeks going down. This is work per week. So week 31, which is the end of July to the 5th of August. a couple of chapters for Sean to write, no admin tasks for that week, the other dress, BSO. Then here I wrote down the most important tasks to focus on for that day, or a deadline, because these chapters were usually already written and edited, but this is when they were uploaded or when they went live on a website. So Mondays I do edits, and I've started doing that over the summer. Dedicate Mondays to editing and administration stuff, which made it a lot easier for me because Mondays aren't generally my best day, but editing is one of those things I just need to sit down and do it, and I tend to be able to do that on Mondays. Instead of having it basically be a lost day when I can't get into writing, which sometimes happens, so then Mondays would be a lost day in that way, but editing is a bit of a different mindset. So then I just, I can force myself into doing that, which doesn't require coming up with anything new, just fix anything old. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Base Statements Online went online, and then Saturdays, the other dress. 32, I did finances, and then like here, probably forgot about doing finances because it says here rent and finances, so I think I must have forgotten about doing finances that week, or had to put it off for some other reason, editing or something. So then I did my finances here, and I had to pay rent. I published Chan, which was on Wednesday, but it doesn't show up in here because that's sort of it's a moving target in that way. I like using this, but the printables, and I had to take it with me, and if I put it into my Hobonichi, it would bog up my Hobonichi too much, and I just didn't have a system where this could fit in. I did really love this though. Then you get the week, which, yes, looks a lot like a week for the Passion Planner, just that it doesn't have more hours than I really need to put in my work. Here's a publishing square, which I didn't use, so I crossed it off. Per pen name, it says what I'm working on. My to-do every, my 3 top things to do every week. Here, every day at the top, and then here at the week for every week. This is usable, but the lines here were too big for my, it kind of really annoyed me. The space between the lines here were too big for my mic liners, so that, I don't know why, it just, you can see it here, they're too wide, and that really annoyed me. And there were a few things, partially just taking it with me was a hassle, so that was annoying. You can see I've been using it through the month. The final week I stopped using it. I stopped using it after a couple of weeks. Again, just the social media stats. But yeah, that was a month of trying out. Then here I put in a Kobo promotion thing at like the final weeks at the end of the year, so I could track what promotions I'd put in, what books were in the promotion, and if I'd gotten the promotion accepted or not, and when it ran. I used it, but I often had to backdate it, and after a while I stopped using it. Google pricing, because Google has a weird thing with pricing, so I put it in here. I've got this digitally too, and here I made this at the start of the year to show when I'm publishing what, what I'm doing when I'm publishing what, and I didn't update this after May, I think. Something like that. I switched a lot around May, June, because my final book for my Emperor series had come out, and I'd started writing Sean, which is just a vampire story. So I had a lot of changes around that time, and this kind of went off the rails by then. This was a really great way to sort of plan in advance, to know when things are happening, but going back, it just didn't work. So that's the Passion Planner, which I gave up on basically around, see, this is annoying, there we go, around July, August, because it got so big and chunky, and it was just really annoying by then. Having to constantly change everything about the planner because I liked the way they had the hours on the weeks, but it just, after a while it gets really annoying. Hobonichi Cousin, which is my everyday planner that I always take with me. And I'll start at the start and then we can, actually I'm skipping the months for now since those are the months that are going later on. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Let's see, where's the start of the year? Put in markers, but yeah. So, yeah, you can see I've done the hourly things in here, the 3 top tasks. These are word count, sort of shout out boxes. I like using them. I've been using those a lot, still using them. I like them a lot. This is me just putting in what I'm doing per half hour. But this was first week of January and I was about to go to a convention, so I hadn't really planned anything for the rest of it. Here I started highlighting just fun stuff. You can see me that by then, this is 2 weeks into January, I've started color coding again to see what I need to do every day and what I'm doing. Like editing and writing, I often just write like a whole hour because I've been working on it for the whole hour, but smaller tasks tend to get half-hour stuff. End of January, I'm doing like cute stickers, funny stuff, cute stuff. I've not actually bought any stickers or washi or anything for next year because I've not been using them since I think March, something like that. I've not been using them, so I haven't bought anything new because I tend to buy new ones for the next year just to like give me something new, something cute, but I've just stopped using them. Color coded here, a cute line. Yeah. Then yeah, here's one of those really busy days when I'm updating stuff online and I have to like upload to a lot of places when I've updated back matter for them, writing, editing, sort of. It happened over there. I put the planner aside and I'd actually been working really hard and yeah, this then happens. I can actually see, because I didn't see this earlier on, but they kind of bleed underneath stickers and washi, the pen. This is the pen that comes with the Hobonichi that I use for these things. But I hadn't realised that it was actually sort of bleeding. Because I haven't looked at these pages since I've made them, like since I've used them, so this is fountain pen, but this is just ballpoint pen, and apparently they start bleeding underneath washi tape. That's a little bit too bad. I got an order in, I got my new Lamy pen in, which was the special edition for this year, which is a pink one, hence the pink ink. Different kind of washi on there. I started using a different word count shadow box, which is that, 15th. Oh, I've been using hearts this week since this is Valentine's Day, so I used hearts for that week. That's why it's also this different shadow box. And then sometimes stuff just happens. Stuff just sort of, I don't plan work counts, hours that I've worked that I know, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. The upside of the Hobonichi is that I can like write it down and I'm good with this. I can go, this is okay, move on. Because, well, you've seen the other pages. I've got a lot of really full pages. And this is April. Again, the plannings, what I'm going to do, then here, just stuff. I basically didn't do what I planned, but I did then do what I was supposed to do there. I did here. covers, formatting, how many hours I've worked. And then we're in August. Okay, I'm not showing August yet. Let's put this one in here. Because in August, well, the end of August, near September, I switched to using this planner primarily. So I used my cousin together with my weeks to then start planning here. So I first made my monthly view in the weeks. In the weeks, so I knew when what chapter had to be in. And then I again color coded stuff, so I knew what was going on when on the weeks just doesn't have enough space. It really doesn't. So for like more detailed planning. So this is sort of broad strokes, broad outline of what I'm planning on doing per stuff, and it actually does get more detailed as I'm going on. This is November, yeah, this is November, and then December, which is pretty empty because I've been sort of trying to take this month a bit more off. So you can see here I've actually lengthened these to the side so I can write down on every week like how many chapters I'm writing, I'm editing, and then sort of move them into here. And here I got my gel pen, also from the Hobonichi website, I'll write it down, which has 3 colours, pink, purple and green I've got in there, so I sort of have an idea what I'm using when. I also started doing Thursday afternoons off, because I've been working way too many hours, so Thursday afternoons off. I managed that most weeks. October was a bit hard, but November, December, that was a lot easier for me. Again, you can see here that whatever I'm doing here, I've been writing down here so I know what I'm doing. And then, yeah, November, December isn't that interesting, it's just more of the same. And you can see here, these are the weekly views, as you know them from the Passion Planner. Problem with these weekly views is just that originally I felt like I didn't have enough space to do everything, like the stuff I do on my monthly or stuff like that. But these days I don't use them apart from actually making the time blocks, which I then go into dailies. This one is making the time blocks, and then on my weekly planner I actually make my 3 tasks for the week and my internet usage and some notes on the side. So what I did in the Passion Planner on a single week, on a single like spread, I now use between my Hobonichi cousin and my Hobonichi weeks. So I make my time schedule here, but I keep my tasks on this list because even in my Irma cover, which normally my main week's planner is in, but I've already switched over to next year, on my weeks it's just a lot easier to take with me if I'm going places where taking my cousin just doesn't work. And it means I can easily like put stuff into future days without having to like worry about making my daily schedules. So my top 3 and my internet usage and some notes on what I'm doing that week and stuff like that go in here. Then I make my timeline here. So I go from my monthly overview with my tasks, then I put them into my week's planner. From my week's planner I then go make my schedules in my cousin again, which then gets transferred to the daily pages. Here, just a lot of writing this week. I'm still doing the task at the top. I've stopped doing that because it was really getting... It meant writing things down 3-4 times, and I was getting tired of doing that. So right now it's this, basically. This is what my weekly pages look like. Just the hour schedule, and then on my in my weeks you get is this the same week? No, it's not the same week. No, doesn't matter. In the weeks you see my daily tasks and everything else. Then here I just get my hourly overview. So I know I'm not putting in too many hours. No, well, that's a bit weird way of saying it. So I know I'm not putting too many tasks into my week because I have a tendency to overwork myself. So putting these hours in here help me to not put too many work things on a daily schedule. So I'm not just overworking myself, but I'm also not running myself into the ground trying to make things work and trying to get as many hours in my day as possible. Other weeks, yeah, you can see here I was working on getting Base Status Online ready, so writing, written chapters, edited chapters, uploaded to Patreon and everything else, and then again formatted and edited, and just getting the whole thing in an overview together to make sure that I finish everything for the tasks. But this is what I started doing around August, when I went from using my Passion Planner to just using my cousin in my weeks. And we're going back to August. Here it doesn't change much at that point, because my daily pages have been really helpful for me. They've been really working really well for me, so they haven't been changing too much. But again, this is where I plan out my time. This is where I plan out my time. This is where I use the time that I'm doing. And you can see here, I've been going to the Games Workshop playing Warhammer on Thursday. Oh, this is actually Tuesday. Apparently I swapped them around. Yeah, swapped them around. Yeah. Normally I do that on Thursdays, but apparently here I do it on a Tuesday, because I do have to take my time off, because these days I leave home. This is even before that. Let's see. Is this not? Yeah. This is a later one. This is a more recent one. I leave home at 7:30, and I basically come home at 6 in the evening. So I make really long hours, because I travel in the morning and in the afternoon back. I travel together with my partner, who has to go a little bit further to get to his job, and it means I get like an hour or an hour and a half extra time at my office every day. So I've taken Thursday afternoons off to basically, most Thursday afternoons, I was really deep into editing that week, getting stuff ready for publication, off to basically give myself some, well, me time. Anything I can show? Yeah. Been not doing much in the last weeks because I've been gaming a lot, and I've just had to really take these weeks off. So I stop overworking myself. I don't have anything at the back of this. Then I still have a few things to show in my week's calendar. Yeah, there we are. So in my week's calendar, I now make these, which you'll see is basically the same as I used before. I just make it by hand, which doesn't take too much time. Top here is social media tracking. I do it over a longer period of time, just to see growth instead of just worrying about growth on a month-by-month base. I just don't have a place to put that on a month-by-month, so I started doing it like this. And then here are my weekly checks. So finances, rent. I need to clean my downloads folder because otherwise it gets really full. Hours, words, stickers, I've stopped using them. Social media stats, and here are my email addresses at the bottom. And more social media. I don't have. I'll put in photos of my stickers and how very, very far behind I'm on actually putting those stickers onto my planner and everything. To track word count, I've stopped using them like halfway through the year because they just didn't work for me anymore. I'll put in a couple of pictures of that. My word count for the total for the year has stuck, I think, just before 500,000 words, and I'm over 600,000 words by now. So I'm quite behind on like putting stickers on my thingy, and it just doesn't do it for me anymore. I keep myself on track with my planning, and I've got a really, what I think, cool Excel sheet anyway, that I use to track like my graph, how many words I've written, projections of where I'm like going word count wise for things, and that kind of, yeah, to me that's more important than the stickers in my tiny calendar and on my main thing. Also because I had quite a few days that I had like 6,000 words or more written, and that meant I had to dig into really tiny stickers to fit them on my calendar, and it got more of a hassle than something that would actually help me. It became a hassle, and I've loved them because I've been using them since 2015, but by now this is my 4th year. Yeah, this is my 4th year of being an author. I'm 3.5 years into being an author full time, and the sticker thingies that worked for me that first couple of years just don't work for me anymore when I'm just writing so much. I've got my system working for me, and giving the small rewards of stickers just doesn't help me anymore. Anyway, that was 2018 in review. That's all my 2018 planners, and I hope that was interesting. I hope you may have gotten some like ideas or information that may be useful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my Facebook page, which I'm doing a whole overhaul with all sorts of stuff going on with that too. And see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.